Factor out the greatest common factor or factor by grouping. When we first see this problem here, what we want to do is to factor out the greatest common factor for the numerical part or the coefficient part of this problem. So if we look at this number 150 and 150, we need to look for the greatest common factor, so the biggest number that can divide all of these numbers evenly. So if we do that, we can see that we can bring out a 50. We do the same thing with the different variables. So this one we have an m squared, m cubed, and m squared. So we take the smallest one from there. So we get m squared. And then we do the same thing with the n's. We have n cubed, n to the fourth, and n squared. So we're going to pull out an n squared. We have a 3, a 4, and a 2, so we're going to pull out an n squared. Okay, from here then, sorry about that. From here then, what we need to ask ourselves is like 50 times what is going to give me this 100? So we can see that it's 2. And then we have m squared. We need m squared, so we no longer need any m squares. And then n squared times what is going to give you n cubed? So we see we need one more. And then 50 times a -1 is going to give you the -50. I'm missing one of the m's, and I'm missing 2 n's. So n squared times n squared gives us the n to the fourth. Plus 3, 50 times 3, that's 150, and then we have m squared and we have n squared, so we're done. So this is the answer. Now with this problem, if you're having a hard time finding the greatest common factor, remember we talked about how we can organize our work. If we put 100 here and then 50 and 150, think of the biggest number off the top of your head that you know that can go into 150 and 150. So if you're not seeing it, you can start with something as like 10. If we go 100 divided by 10, that's 10. 50 divided by 10, that's 5. And 150 divided by 10, that's 15. With this new set of group, you can see that 10, 5, and 15 is all of them are divisible by 5. So we can pull out a 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3. And then 2, 1, and 3 have no common factors other than 1. So you can see how if you multiply these two out, you get this number here, 50. And then you can see where these numbers are coming from. The 2 you have here, you have a 1, we have a 1 there, but we have to account for the negative sign. And then we have the 3 here. You could also do the same thing with the variables here. So m squared is equal to m times m. And then m cubed is equal to m times m times m. And again, m squared is equal to m times m. So we can see that this one, they have m squared in common. That's where this m squared comes from. Okay, now if you notice for the first term, we have no m's. And you can see here that we don't have any more m's. And then for the second terms, we have one m. And that's where this m is coming from. And then the last term, we don't have any m's. And we can do the same thing with the ends. So if we look at the ends, we have, excuse me, this should be in n. So we have n cubed, which means n, here I did it again. This is n times n times n. And then the next one we have n to the fourth, which means n times n times n times n. The last one is n squared, which means n times n. So you can see that this one, they have the n squared. That's the n squared that we pulled out. And then for the first term, you have one n. That's that n. You have two n's for the second term, and there's nothing left for the third term.